Industries that are hot, sectors set to outperform the market. That's what's here in Zacks Industry Rank Analysis. Charles Rotblatt, our senior market analyst at Zacks.com, puts this report all together for us. You know that if you've been watching with any amount of regularity. He's here with us once again. What you don't know is what's on the Rotblatt radar for this week. So I'll tell you. Education providers. So you've been looking into those mail order CFA courses again, eh?
I'm going on eBay, CFA certificate, $4.99. No.
Yeah.
No, we're actually schooling investors here, no pun intended,
okay.
On private education providers. They have a reputation for being a counter-cyclical type of business, and their third quarter earnings only goes to reinforce that reputation.
And I've heard the rationale this time around that as the economy gets a little bit worse and more people are getting laid off from their jobs, they're turning toward beefing up their education, maybe getting better skills or at least taking some refresher courses in the skills that they do have. So this is one of the few sectors that's been doing well relatively lately. However, the research that I'm seeing shows that they're near the top of their game for this cycle. Are they beginning to top out? Are they at their highs?
I don't think so, and it's interesting. When you look at new student enrollment, which is really a good figure, and even retention is whether or not they're keeping students, the numbers are growing. They all showed really good growth. They showed double-digit growth in new student enrollment. So they're actually the numbers show that they're not near the top of their cycle. They're going to continue growing, actually. And in this economy, there's a lot of people that need to be retrained. There's a lot of people wanting to actually beef up their resumes. I've actually heard on the radio not too long ago on NPR how they're the top-tier MBA schools, not the private ones we're talking to, but, well, still private in a sense if we're talking about University of Chicago, Harvard, et cetera. I should say not for-profits. Would be a better way of saying it. They're starting to see very large number of enrollments because a lot of people are looking to enhance their resumes. Some people are just pulling out of the job market. But the other thing with Tuesday's election, with President Obama being elected, there's some thought that we could actually see more money being tossed into worker training. That should benefit these companies as well, these for-profit education providers, your STRA or your ITT Educational Services, APOL, etc.
So those that are publicly traded companies, from an investment standpoint, are worth taking a look at now, you say, huh?
They are. And one thing I do want to address, and I talk about this in more detail in the article, but one of the big fears that I even had when I looked at this was the ability of students to get financing. Certainly with the credit crunch, we've all heard stories about people not being able to get student loans. All these companies are saying that their students are not having any problems. Pell Grants are helping out. Private lenders are still available. They're able to actually provide funding, in some cases the companies themselves to students. And another measure to look at is bad debt expense. Are more students defaulting? Numbers are mixed. A couple companies actually reported a bit of an increase. I believe it was Apollo. So the number dropped a little bit. So there's not really a trend there. And they all said basically that financing is not a problem, that if students want to get the financing, it is there for them to get. So we are seeing students have access and really going after it. And certainly in this economy, anytime you hit a recession, you're going to see industries kind of cycle. Right. Some people realize that they can't keep going in direction they have been going on in their career, and they have to get a new job, a new career, and that's also going to force some people to update their skills, whether it's getting an MBA, whether it's getting new computer skills. Skilled labor, even in the current economy, that continues to be in strong demand. Mechanics, welders, people who can work on oil platforms, all that type of stuff where you actually need a skill simply because a lot of schools have been, public schools and high schools have been pushing college versus vocational skills, and that's causing a widening gap. And I think as we go on, if it's not addressed, it's going to be a problem for the U.S. in terms of finding skilled labor.
You know, that was something that somebody in the outplacement field told me once, and that is during the recovery, what's going to happen is there's going to be a shortage of skilled labor because we've now gone to a service economy, and there's a different skill set required that a lot of people may not have. And so this is the opportunity for them to get those skills.
Yeah, I think it's a combination that we're going to service. I think there's been a bigger push among the high schools to really get people thinking about college, and college is a great thing. But for some people, they're really better with their hands than sitting at a computer. And regardless of what we do here, I mean, we're going to need people who can do skilled things. I'll go back to welding, just as an example, but plumbing, wiring, building stuff, fixing stuff, all that's a vital part of our economy, and it can provide very good wages, and in often cases can provide higher wages than someone getting a college education. And again, I think when we look at the educational system, and I think the thought is with the new administration, we will get another look at education, and it really isn't so much making sure everybody is geared to go to college, but really make sure that people have the opportunities available to them that match their talent sets. Some people are brilliant mathematicians. Some people are brilliant in terms of working with mechanical things, and it's not that one person's better than another or one person's smarter than another. Right. It's really for the economy, the benefit is to get each worker into the industry where they can do the most benefit and really use their talents to their fullest. And for each person, talents are different.
So are these stocks in this sector good only during an economic downturn like the one we're going through right now because it is so deep and because so many jobs are being lost? Or is this a relatively firm sector? Does it hold up well in good times also?
We actually had seen these companies growing prior to this recession. However, there was a really, I'll call, bump in the road for these companies, for lack of a better term. There was some question about their enrollments. The Department of Education had done some investigations to certain firms, not all of them, and that caused a bit of a speed bump. But I think in general, you're right. When you see the economy doing well, might be less of a focus among people about thinking, oh, I really need to beef up my skills. People feel more secure. Jobs are more readily available. But I think when you start looking at where we're headed, as we see more and more people retired, there's definitely going to be more shortages of workers. And I think there's going to be greater demand for training. And certainly, not only from the mechanical side, but also if you look from the IT side, people working in the professional fields more and more are dependent on their ability to use computer skills, and that's going to leave especially maybe some older, I should say more mature workers who might be displaced through layoffs might have to realize that, you know what, I do need to get more familiar with Vista. Maybe I need to learn how to do some programming. And so I do think there's going to be some skill sets there, and obviously there constantly will be a need for people with graduate degrees. There always is, and there should continue to be.
I have something all worked out as a backup in case this video thing doesn't work out for me. That's called "Do You Want Fries with That Hamburger?"
It's always good to have job skills, whether it's flipping or whether it's building, or even in my case, if it's writing and analyzing.
What about the stocks that you mentioned? Do you own any of them?
I do not own any of the stocks in this sector.
All right. Charles' entire text version of his industry rank analysis for this most current week is available to you for your review on Zacks.com. Very easy to link to. Just look for the headline that reads Education Providers Getting High Marks. That'll take you right to it. With Charles Rotblatt, I'm Terry Ruffalo.